So check this out. This guy he's going by maybe 5 miles an hour. No big deal. He's making a turn. But this guy, he flew down the street, beeping at everybody, beeping at the media, turned around, did it again. So it's it's um it's tense here, and we want a resolution of this. We want to find Nancy. So I mean, I can speculate all I want, but at the end of the day, you really get a lot of criticism from other media and even elected representatives from Tucson and whatnot. So it begs the question that why do people want to be pushed away from this case? Why are people pushing for less coverage of this in the first place? And that's a curious point. So yeah, we had an exclusive with Sergeant Aaron Cross, who's gracious enough to give us that, and we appreciate him and the entire force, really. So moving forward, we're going to keep you guys posted for press conferences, and so I want to jump across here for a second if you follow me on this. So this larger narrative, okay, which is anti-ICE, we're seeing nationwide. So I personally was in Minneapolis for the better part of January. I went the day after Renee Good got shot, and I stayed for 20 days. And what I found there through Mayor Jacob Fry and Governor Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar, they collectively teamed together to implement these sanctuary city policies and, you know, hold protests to get ICE out, you know. And Ben Berquam was there. He had some great footage as well. I did a ride along with ICE for Human Events Daily. You could check that out. But, my point is that what we're going to see in Tucson coming up? So I've talked with more locals, and I have more sources yet to be released here, maybe tomorrow or the next day, that certain resolutions are being presented to the Board of Supervisors, okay? And it looks almost copy and paste with what Minneapolis has done. And some of these measures include federal agents not being allowed to interview detainees or not being allowed to step onto county property without a warrant. Okay. Another one is that we saw in Minneapolis is that ICE or Border Patrol would not be allowed to use county resources for anything, even if it's staging in a parking lot. Say, hey guys, we want to meet up and stage for this next operation. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it in the city. They can't use. You can't even use the bathroom at the department. So these are and okay. So another, and it trickles all the way through. It's not just, officers, it's even staff at the county. They're not allowed. They can get reprimanded for any interactions with the federal agents, whether it's FBI, ICE, DHS, Border Patrol, HSI. So it's strange. Why would a city do that, especially 60 miles, just 60 miles north of the border here? So that's being presented on Tuesday. Today's Sunday. It's being presented on Tuesday, and they're not calling it a sanctuary city. What they're doing is basically doing all of that, but just taking the name out. But that's exactly what we saw in Minneapolis. Okay, and therefore that means, okay, so now federal agents won't be able to investigate anybody. Okay, and also another measure is that private residences will be allowed to construct gates in front of their houses. I mean, that's already allowed, but the warrants will be needed to, search private property. So these are policies, and obviously, okay, like federal law supersedes the state. So it's more of just a show thing, a policy thing. And another side effect of this is that what we saw in Minneapolis again is that, okay, anybody that obstructs ICE or obstructs operations, yeah, you'll get arrested, but you probably just get let go in the morning, slap on the wrist, waive your trial, waive your charges, and that emboldens anybody who is in collaboration with anyone else who decides to impede law enforcement or is possibly working with illegal immigrants or gangs or cartel or human traffickers, drug traffickers, everything. So that is very interesting to see. And so anyway, to come full circle with that, Sergeant Aaron Cross did tell Real America's Voice that this is not the case. Again, this is not the case moving forward uh, for Pima County Sheriff's Department to get on board with this anti-ICE narrative nationwide that Democrats are really pushing for. So that is not the case. We haven't seen ICE involved here, and I mean, really, ICE has nothing to do with this case unless it's involving illegal immigrants. Okay, so yeah, he informed me that is definitely not the case, and yeah, we'll see. I mean, if it doesn't have persons of interest that are illegal or may have been, caught here before and then deported and came back again, they would certainly have a record of that as well. Sorry, there's 3 or 4 drones overhead of me. I don't know if that's coming into the audio or not, but I think we're okay. But yeah, there's a lot of people with drones overhead. So, so yeah, I would think that if there's an illegal immigrants involved here, they might have their fingerprints or DNA already on record, which could be cross-referenced to whatever is found on the gloves. Okay. I hope we understand all that. And yeah, okay. So we're gonna take some questions or comments here from the live chat. This is cool. It's the first time I'm doing this. Bear with me. Comments. We have Kevin. What's the weather? What's the weather there? So it is winter. It's winter. Okay, it is a desert. There's cactuses everywhere. There's big sun, and yeah, it's yeah, about, I don't know, 70. I haven't really been looking. It's mildly overcast. It rained for 2 days there. It did rain for 2 days there, and so that's another interesting variable here with the rain and the wind and whatnot. Like a lot of this evidence probably been swept away with the tumbleweeds. Okay, like any hair follicles or fingerprints. For example, behind me at the entrance of the house, is Nancy Guthrie's house behind me. If you're just joining, if there's any her tire tracks or unique footprints from unique shoes, I know that's one way things are determined in the past. But yeah, all that would be swept away in the rain, and especially hair follicles or blood. There was some criticism that the sheriff's department didn't clean up the blood. Um, but that was like kind of under the entrance anyway. So if there was blood there, it would probably still be there even if it rained. Um, so yeah, other than that, the weather's just nice. I know it gets super hot in the summer times, of course, and is dangerous hiking and people die just getting lost in hikes and stuff. So yep. Let's go to the next one here from Thomas. Tie the hands of ice is fundamentally wrong. Okay, Amy, thank you for everything you're doing, Kevin. Well, you're welcome. Honored to be here. Sandy is saying this is the coverage we need. Thank you, thank you. Priscilla, what do you expect will be revealed? What do I expect to be revealed? Let's see. I mean, I expect them to find I expect them to find a match. Okay, there's got to be. I mean, for them to send this glove across the country to get analyzed in a special lab, there has to have been blood or some kind of fingerprints on there to warrant that in the first place, as opposed to other gloves. So they apparently today we heard that 16 gloves were found, and there's multiple peoples of interest, but we're not allowed to know who everyone is. But yeah, to be revealed. Well, they said today that it was a male suspect, and from that you could determine potential family members. So I didn't even know that earlier, that if you get your fingerprints, so first off, if you get your fingerprints taken, that means you're already a criminal. So, if you get arrested, you have to get your fingerprints. So they have to have a match first, which means you're already a criminal in the database. Um, but I didn't know, like, so the pattern of your thumb, okay, the pattern of your thumb or fingerprint or your blood, I didn't even know that would be related or similar in pattern to your relatives. But that's what they're claiming. So that's news to me. I'm not a true crime detective. I'm not in law enforcement, even though they said I was confirmed ICE in Minneapolis, which is bonkers. But yeah, I'm hoping they find a match and they detain the guy and maybe arrest him or get testimony out of him, further information. But yeah, I hope for more of that soon. All right, let's go to Sandy here. What can we do to counter this? Uh, I guess that is in regard to the anti-ICE narrative. I'll try and answer that real quick by just saying rally, protest it. I mean, we became the anti-protesters at in Minneapolis. That's why everybody hated us, because we were bringing you guys the real news, and we were trying to give clarity in that way. But yeah, hold a rally, hold a protest. That's an interesting thing is with this Nancy Guthrie case. I mean, she was Democrat, okay? There's no bones about it. She was heavily critical of Trump and the administration. So why aren't local Democrats holding, search parties themselves? We get a lot of criticism of, live streamers and quote unquote influencers. Influencer is the derogatory term now for doing what, asking questions. But where's everybody else? Where's the local neighbors having like search parties on their own? You have the freedom to do that. Why don't they have more vigils? Even just a prayer vigil for the Guthries. Like what, like that's one way to counter all this is to just get loud about it. But we're not seeing that. It's an interesting question. So, and to counter, I mean, this, obviously to counter further kidnappings, you just lock your doors. I mean, not to be too flat about it, but yeah, lock your doors at night. My goodness, I mean, take precaution, take measures to ensure the safety of your family, especially elderly. It's great that Nancy lived in her own home, but a lot of 84-year-old women, they're already in, not nursing homes, but they're in like, one of these other kind of communities. So that's a measure you could take. Just lock your doors, lock your windows, no matter how nice it is, you want to leave the window open, let the breeze in. That's what I was figuring too, is that a theory could be like, what if they went in the back door? What if they went in a side window? It's lovely weather, you leave the window open. I mean, and and also I want to point out, I also heard today that there's reports coming in from Phoenix that this may not have been originally a kidnapping case, but it was a burglary gone wrong. Okay, so that is plausible. Maybe Nancy, was known. She was a very well-known person in this community. Maybe she got burglarized because they knew she was wealthy, and then it went wrong and they just had to kidnap her. That's an update from today as well. So, other than that, um, okay, next question. We're going to go to Catherine. Anything new with the DNA results? I think I answered that. From Surmed, this place is way too close to the border. We should prioritize searching for secret tunnels at the border between the two countries. I'm pretty sure Border Patrol's on top of that one. And yeah, lots of love and respect to Border Patrol and ICE and the FBI. I think if there were actual tunnels, that's like some El Chapo stuff when they dug a tunnel for him to get out of jail. Um, I mean, yeah, sure. And that's in line with like what the Border Patrol does have. I mean, and geologists have that too nowadays, where you can use sonar to look into the ground when they search for in Egypt when they're looking for more mummies and tombs and stuff or ancient ruins, they send sonar into the ground to see. So I'm sure you could probably locate a cavity in the ground, such as a tunnel or other route that way, or they use that to look for under icebergs and also in the ground to look for minerals and for oil, of course. So good question. We'll go to Catherine again. Are they still searching for the daughter Annie's home? I haven't been there. It's only a couple miles away. I haven't been there today, I should say. I was there once, and nothing was going on there. There was a private security there as opposed to the police that we have here stationed. There was a private security from the family just guarding the house at all times. Yeah, we have no updates from Annie or Savannah or the brother-in-law Tommaso Sioni. That was another interesting lead we had a few days ago about his whereabouts and his involvement, potential involvement with one of his bandmates. Um, again, like all speculation, whether or not it's person of interest, we're really just not sure. So let's go to Misfit. They finally sent out a helicopter to look for a signal from her pacemaker. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Okay, we're going to jump across here. Have you heard anything about FBI going back to the scene where they found the glove and were seen there at 2 a.m.? No updates on that, no. What else? We should prioritize secret tunnels. Does the glove have to go to Quantico or just the results to compare ancestry? I don't know about that one either. I know Sheriff Nanos did say he wanted to use the Florida one instead of Quantico um, for whatever reason. And yeah, so after that, I mean, I'll leave you guys with this. There have been lots of reports as well that Nanos is a guy, he's been in the force for, multiple decades here. He is the head honcho. And, I understand that he's got a bit of a legacy to establish here. He can't be there forever, but it is interesting to see that, he's putting his guys on the case. Uh, at first, it seemed ahead of FBI and kind of shrugging off any federal law enforcement help. But again, that seems to be not the case. They are working in joint operations, but yeah, there's been some tension. I guess he's a hothead or has got a bit of an ego, but shocker, like what other kind of leader doesn't have those attributes at the end of the day? Even if you look outside police forces, there's a lot of guys that have, big heads about everything. So, I understand that, but it is a unique thing and it does cause more tension, especially when you're a head of a department and you're there to serve and protect the whole community and provide safety for everybody, not just a certain group of people that favor you. And we saw that there's stories about the last election in 2024 and in 2016. There's a video going around about him criticizing the FBI. And then, yeah, with the Heather Lappin case, he was running as incumbent. She was running against him, and she still only lost by about, less than 500 votes. So this is all interesting to see moving forward, especially regarding the midterms. Everybody should be focused on the midterms. And if you didn't know, um, local sheriffs get voted on. You can have your job, but local sheriffs get voted on by the people. So something to keep in mind. moving forward, how he decides to handle this operation. And then, of course, 2028. And I could say this too, from 2024, a board, there was the union, the police union, the local police union, of about a few hundred people. They had a vote. They had a vote about the confidence that they had in Sheriff Nanos, and it was, I want to say, 79 to 21 said that they voted in no confidence of Sheriff Chris Nanos. So that tells you something. Of the 100 or so people involved in that vote, I believe only about half voted. But still, I mean that's an interesting fact as well. I mean, you guys can look them up all you want. There's several stories about this sheriff over the years that it can be criticized. Um, but yeah, this is what it is. And yeah, so other local, I guess, conservatives, they are well aware of that. So, that's no news to them. But what we're trying to do here is highlight certain things about him and anyone who's corrupt, honestly, and let the nation at large know that moving forward, especially when we want to know who these officers are, sheriffs are, so we can confidently vote for them in the future. So, and I think that there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Um, but yeah, so you just got to deal with the facts. You want to know who these people are, what their reputation is, what their family life is like. I mean, I guess that's not as important, but we always want to know what their platform is. Okay, at the end of the day, what they want to do for the community. Okay, so, but that's just the nature of the game these days. Unfortunately, they want to know, what movies you like and what movies you don't like, and how many whatever. Like it's we're in a polarized world here, politically speaking, and we have to deal with it as it comes. So let's see if we have any other questions here. Kim says, "Don't trust Pima cops, especially a sheriff." Yeah, so that yeah, again, like if there's anything corrupt with the FBI or you know, Border Patrol or whatever, I have no qualms about looking into those cases as well. But it's a shame. It's a shame, really, because what you want to do if you really want to go down that road is like there's bad apples in every bunch, right? As the saying goes. So this by no means to throw shade on a whole organization here. We're just looking, especially towards leadership. But yeah, first, people get hired and fired all the time. So yeah, I can't agree with not trusting them at all. I mean, we want to trust law enforcement because they protect us. So, all right, we'll do one more question here or so, and then I will leave you guys for the night. I know it's about 9 o'clock in the East Coast. God bless. Um, is the FBI sharing the sketch of what they think the masked man might really look, how he might look? Yes, vote him out this coming November. LOL. Yeah, the FBI is sharing the sketch, but these people are trained to, give take witness testimonies, and so keep in mind it's just a sketch. Okay, we only saw the guy's eyes and a little bit of his mouth, so we don't really know exactly. I mean, take it with a grain of salt. So, another question from Kim: do they steal her from her home? Yeah, that's what we think. Be like them, okay? Yeah, okay. So yeah, just to wrap up here. Um, Again, we're out front of Nancy Guthrie's house. The weather's nice. Police are here. All the law enforcement is involved in collaboration. And yeah, we want to have an end to this case. keep the prayers up, please. We're going to keep praying for Nancy and the Guthrie family. So, yeah, guys, this is Kevin Posobiec, field correspondent for Real America's Voice. Stay tuned on Real America's Voice for all updates this week. Thank you so much.